On-camera flash is super easy if you remember the following. Your camera will take care of the ambient or room exposure, and your flash will take care of the exposure of the person that you're trying to light up. You have to control both during the event. Now what's cool is once you lock in your ambient exposure in camera, then pretty much the whole night you're just controlling flash powers up and down. The only time you have to go back to the camera and finagle things is if the ambient room lighting changes, and it does. DJ lighting, if you move to the bar area, if you go to a darker area. So you do have to adjust your ambient every now and that means then you have to adjust your flash. Let's set a room exposure. The first thing we want to do is get a ambient exposure. The camera will take care of the room exposure, but we don't want to see the person here. We just want to see the blue back there. Step 1, I keep my shutter speed around about 100 the whole night, from 80 to about 160. I stay around those shutters all night. Next, depending on my subject, I go from about f2, 2.8, f4. For the sake of simplicity, let's keep it on f4, okay? And now ISO, if you change your ISO, you will see more or less of the background. And now ISOs that I live at are around anywhere from about 400 to 1600. I stay around this ISO range as I'm shooting events, okay? If it's very dark, we go to 1600, and that's what we have there. We have a little bit of room environment. Let's try to get a little bit more room. We'll go to 32. Let me take a test shot so you can see. And now, as you can see, we have the blue exposed how we want it. Now, if we turn on our flash and we have it on manual, let's go to manual mode. We do not want TTL mode. Right now, it's on quarter power. Your flash power now will control the exposure of the person in front of the camera. And think of it as a dimmer switch. The flash goes from full power to half, to quarter, to eighth, to 16th, to 32nd, to 64, to 128, and that's the lowest this flash goes, 128. Now, let's show you what full power looks like. You should know how powerful your flash goes. So at 3200, 1/25th of a second, I know that this is going to blow up the whole room. Here we go. We focus on our people, ba-bam! That's the shot we get. So now, let's dim it all the way to the bottom, so you can have a sense of what your flash does. This is the lowest power. And now you notice your subject is a little too dark. But we don't want to change anything in the camera because the camera controls what you see from the room. And so to get a good exposure, you just tell the person to wait a second. And I'm going to put it up one more power. So from 1/28th, I'm going to 1/64th. Take a shot. They're still a little too dark. By the way, when you're doing an event, you're not like, just wait here, please. Now, my office here is very small, so the flash is going to reach the back wall. If you're shooting a venue or an event or wedding, your flash won't reach the blue lighting, the up lighting, okay? Now, by the way, your flash can freeze action. So your flash is actually faster than any shutter speed. So shutter speed, you can actually shoot at 15th of a second, and if a person is dancing, you could take here's a picture of the ambient. I could turn on my flash, 16th power, and the flash will actually freeze the person who's dancing. Now, a note though, if you're shooting at 15th or 30th of a second, just be careful because you can, if the DJ's lights come up too much during a key moment, you may get motion blur because now there's too much light coming into the camera. Which is the reason I always keep my speed around 80 or 100 in case those lights or a spotlight all of a sudden comes on, I'm covered a little bit. So I keep my shutter speed at 100, but know that you can shoot flash at low, very slow shutter speeds, and you can actually do some cool things by moving the camera around and getting motion. But just as a beginner, keep it around 100, f3.5, 1250, take a test shot. Make sure you have enough blue. Once you have enough blue, turn on your flash. Take a picture of the person. If they're too bright, lower your flash a couple of stops. raise it up a little, use your flash like a dimmer switch, and that's pretty much it.